rainforest. Is the north part of the country, and then in between the Amazon and us, we have one area that people struggle about it. They want to call it the Midwest or the Southwest part of Brazil, which is in between us, south, and north, the Amazon. Okay, in that area in between, it's some geographists, they want to call it the Midwest, and others want to call it the Southwest. Anyway, it's where we border, where Brazil borders Bolivia. Okay, more or less that area. Okay, so we are a country of 200 million people, right? That's the population in Brazil, and around 70% out of the 200 live on the coast. We have 8,500 kilometers of coast in the Atlantic Ocean, right? Starting off in the north part of South America, in the French Guiana, okay, or Guiana, depending on the accent. Starting off in the French Guiana and going all the way to Uruguay, okay. We have 8,500 kilometers. That's more or less 3,000 miles, 4,000 miles, more or less, okay, of coast or beaches, right? And so 70% out of 200 million people live on the coast. So you're very heavily demographs in the coast, and not so much here in the countryside of Brazil. By the way, we are 700 kilometers, about 500 miles from the coast here, in an inland distance, right? I mean, in a straight land distance, okay, from the Atlantic Ocean here, okay. So here we can see a little bit of the city of Iguazu, okay. It's a young city. We're only 100 years old, and we border Paraguay and Argentina. So the Paraguayan and the Argentinian borders, they're less than 10 minutes from where we are right now. Okay, so the access to Paraguay and the access to Argentina is very close, very, very close. Actually, depending on how busy the borders are, one could be in 3 countries in less than 1 hour. Okay, and it's a very interesting place to live. Actually, in Iguazu, we don't notice that, let's call it, Caucasian influence of Germans, Italians anymore, because we have people from all over the globe living in this place. It's a very cosmopolitan place, Iguazu. Okay, and one of the reasons is the border, and living, because Brazil is the link between Argentina and Paraguay. Let's say if Paraguayans want to go to Argentina, or if Argentinians want to go to Paraguay, they have to go via Brazil. Okay, and the other reason is that Paraguay, it's a duty-free area. Okay, it's a very poor country, 5 million people, underdeveloped, and then around the 60s, they declared the territory duty-free, expecting the businessman would go over to Paraguay and then build shopping malls to sell, cheaper goods to Brazilians, right? And so they literally open their economy for the outsiders with money, right? So people from Lebanon, from China, and from Korea, okay, they came down here mid 60s and 70s, and they built a lot of shopping malls in Paraguay. Then, when they arrived in here, they compare both realities. So in one hand, they knew they would have their business in Paraguay, but then they analyzed both realities, the Paraguayan reality and the Brazilian reality, right? And they realized that here, in the Brazilian city, we already had better hospitals, better schools, better infrastructure for their families and for their kids. So they decided to live in here. Okay, so it added up. Okay, more cultures, more cultural, diversity to the Iguazu city. So the last census, which was done in 2010, showed us that we have people from 65 different nationalities living in this place here. Okay, in Iguazu. Okay. By the way, one of the greatest Asian communities of all over South America is here. Okay, not only Chinese, but you know, most Chinese, but a lot of Koreans and Japanese.
Does Brazil resettle anyone?